Hello and welcome to a brand new season of our F1 League Racing experiences. We are about to kick off Season 2 of PPR Tier 3 Live. If you did miss any of the previous rounds, check them out with the playlist of Season 5 in the top right-hand corner of your screens. But looking at the Drivers' Championship, in our first ever season of League Racing, we managed to secure ourselves P4 in the Championship. Of course, this year, we're going for the title, and we've made a change going over to Scuderia Ferrari, with Mark and my teammate from, of course, last season joining me over in the team in red. And we're going to be looking to try and not only get the Drivers' title this year, but also the Constructors' Championship as well. This is what the calendar is going to be for Season 6 of PPR Racing. Kicking us off with Bahrain, we've got some really nice races throughout the calendar. Some personal favourites like Imola, of course, Britain, where we got our first win last season. Austria is a personal favourite of mine, before ending at the Brazilian Grand Prix. But without any further ado, let's get into the first qualifying session of the season and take a look at what our fastest lap has in store for us. We head down in towards turn 1. We've had a lot of improvements over the off-season, really working on what we've been doing wrong, and most importantly, it was early shifting. Short shifting was what we needed to focus on, and it's actually gained us so much time. Unfortunately, though, we're in a very competitive league again this season, with other drivers stepping it up as well. So far, though, through the first couple of corners, we're about 2/10 up on our previous best lap time, throwing it through the right and the left, then down to the hairpin, using a lot of the track over to the left-hand side, getting into third, short shifting up into fourth really early to get that traction power down. We lose the back end ever so slightly through the corner, but out through this horrible left-hander, but we make it stick. We hit the apex nice and tidy on the right, on the left-hand side. Use the curb on the right. You can use a lot of curb on the right, and it just grips up. The car sticks like a dream. Now, hugging the right-hand side, throw it in through the left, stick it on the apex, and allow the car to run out wide, but not too much. You want to avoid the curb on the outside through here. Don't you dare touch the inside curb through that right-hander as we get on the brakes. Again, through another tight right-hander. Allow the car to drift out wide, but be careful not to exceed those track limits. The heart rate up into an impressive 157 beats per minute at the moment, but it's looking pretty good on the Delta. So far, so good. Through the last corner, we lose the back end ever so slightly, but we still gain time. We get about half a second up on our previous best lap time. We come across the line, and it's P7 on the grid for the time being, just showing you how close and how competitive the rest of the field is. Unfortunately, it was P10 at the end of the day. DM Guy looking like a formidable force to reckon with this season, but 4/10 off the guy who was in second, which was Zafso. Yeah, things are looking good. Still a lot to learn. Qualifying is still my weakness in league racing, and that is something, again, we're going to need to learn and improve on over the course of the season. Race strategy for today, starting, of course, on the soft tyres, because we have got into the top 10 just about. And yes, so we're going to be starting on the soft tyres, going to the medium tyres later on in the race. But here we go, lining up on the grid for the first time in our second season of PPR. It's lights out. And away we go, and it's a pretty decent start. Actually, fairly similar to a lot of the drivers around us. Again, opting for the outside line. If you remember our first season last year, we gained so much time, so many positions around the outside of turn 1. So trying to see if that tactic can work for us again, and it has. Not quite to the impressive amount of positions that we gained last season, but we still managed to gain one on 256 there. Going down in towards turn 4 now. 256 has a little look up the inside, but we back ourselves on the traction out of that corner, and we hold on to the position. Sandy Baggy in the other Alpine. Someone we did actually race with quite a bit last season, just ahead of us, but 256, big dive bomb up the inside. We decided to leave him the room because we didn't want to ruin our car. It's so easy, especially in this league, to have somebody ruin your race in the first couple of laps. We decided just to leave him the room, and he mucked up on the apex of the corner anyway, so that allowed us to keep the position as he took a really tighter line. And Sandy Baggy getting caught out on the curb there, running a little bit wide, and actually leaving me the room on the inside through the right hand. I'm going to use all of our ERS all the way down into the final corner now, hoping that we can maybe get some slipstream off of our teammate Mark and send it up the inside into the final corner. Sandy Baggy, nothing he can really do there, but gets a nice switchback off the exit of the final corner. That's going to allow him to go on the attack down towards turn 1. He's going to be using ERS. We go defensive, but Sandy Baggy all over the back of us, and then we remember our OP outside line through turn 1, Sandy Baggy up the inside, but we just say thank you very much. We're going to enjoy the traction off the exit of the corner, and it's an easy job holding on to that position at the end of the day. Sandy Baggy's still there though. Of course, DRS is now enabled, but it's not enough there for Sandy Baggy to get involved and go for the overtake and move himself up into P8. So P8 now for the time being so far with 3 laps down, making the improvements, but of course we want to get a lot more improvements in this race if we want to take a title challenge. As Jokeboke is out of the session there. That was actually a driver ahead of me, so we've moved up into P7. So disappointment there for Jokeboke, but great news for me. Up into P7. Looks like a driver now heading into the pits on lap 7. Very early doors is that from Siney. So Siney into the pits, lap 8 now. And we are deciding not to come into pits. That's because my teammate, Marken, into the pits. Of course, he is ahead of me. He gets the first choice of when to come into the pits. So we have to sit back for the time being and stay out on track. So up into P4, but we do still have to make a pit stop. TJD opting not to pit this lap around. We got DM Guy into the pits. We're going to be coming into the pits as well. So is Sandy Baggy behind us. But you can see Flying Whale. And you've also got Ricker on the medium tyres. So they're going to be going long into this race. We come into the pits onto a new set of medium tyres, which we will be hoping can take us till the end of the race. One thing we were actually really good on last season was our tyres. So if we can carry that on into our second season of league racing, then of course it's going to help us because it's going to allow us to have better tyres at the end of the race and maybe go on the attack of drivers who might be struggling just a little bit. Lap 11 now, and we've got a couple more drivers into pits, including TJD, who was ahead of us before the pit stop stage, but we've managed to jump him and we move up into P11. He's on the hard tyres though, so shouldn't really be challenging us in the early stages of this stint, but potentially by the end of it he could be on the back of us. As Daniel has a little look as he comes into the pits, crosses that white line, but I think he will get away with this. We're going to go up the inside of Daniel. Nothing really that he can fight with. Of course, he's on 12 lap old medium tyres. Our tyres are only about 2 laps old, so much more grip at this stage of the race, and we move past him. Jedi Wooder is next up as we have Smowley in the Aston Martin, going for a spin on turn 8 there. Disappointing for him. That moves me up into P9, but that was somebody who I believe was actually ahead of me in net position. So that's great news. Jello Wooder not going defensive, actually. He's just allowing me through because, again, I've got so much more grip than him. My race and his race aren't aligned. He's not fighting me at the moment because he's on that alternate strategy. He's waiting till he pits and, of course, will hope to fight me later on in the race on the soft tyres. But lap 13 now. We've got Ricker and Flying Whale coming into the pits from those medium tyres, and that moves us up into 6th position. Somebody who hasn't pitted yet in this race is our good friend Dirk Chocolate. So he's currently still in P4, actually finding some good pace in this race. Unfortunately, they're now getting overtaken by Siney, but doing a good job so far in this race. We have a little moment here from TJD sending up the inside of me. I wasn't really too bothered about fighting him at this stage of the race. We were very similarly matched on pace, and I just didn't want to fight him because there's other places to gain back positions. If we fight him, it just hands us to the clutches of Sandy Baggy, and even Dirk Chocolate would really help out Dirk Chocolate. That's something we definitely don't want to do because it's going to give him bragging rights later on in the voice chat. But now going on the attack again of TJD, we feel a little bit more comfortable now. Siney and Zafso are going for an extra pit stop. We're only doing a 1 stop here today, but those two opting for potentially a 2-stop strategy, which in all fairness, has potentially handed us a podium position. We go for a great switchback there on TJD. We brake before the DRS line to allow ourselves to get DRS, then go for the switchback, get the better line out of the corner, and that has moved us into P3 with only now about 5 laps left to go in this race. TJD coming back and he goes up the inside. Again, we're going to allow him to go a little bit late, but he just forces me out wide there. Great defensive maneuver from TJD to put his car in the right position. Now we're going to get DRS on the Alpha Tauri driver. Do we have enough pace to go for the move in towards turn 4? We settle behind him for the time being. Again, we don't want to go side by side through the rest of the track for one reason, and that's because Zafso is hunting us down. I believe in my pace. I believe that I can get past TJD and get the podium position. But Zafso is absolutely rapid on those soft tyres. As TJD moving over to the left-hand side, I think he potentially might be giving me the position because this is awfully defensive at this stage of the race, which he does. He backs out of it, gives me the position for him to get DRS and come back at me later on the race. I think he's playing the smart game. We were waiting to maybe overtake him in the last couple of laps, save our ERS, and now Marken doing an absolute solid. We did get a little bit close there between two teammates, but we got on the comms. We needed a little bit of help. We needed a little bit of DRS to try and keep TJD behind me. Now, Marken is absolutely rapid today. He's much quicker than me. There's no worry about me overtaking Marken in this race. But if he can maybe tow me along the straights, then potentially we could have a good battle with the guys behind. And it's worked a treat up until lap 28 when we have got Zafso right on our tails. We go down in towards the left-hander. Zafso still very much on the back of us. We will want to keep him behind us because at the moment we are on for a podium, but look at the traction he has got out of turn 11 there, right around the outside, and I'm going to force him the long way around. I'm not going to be giving up this position easily. I give him just about enough room on the left hand side. He's just about ahead of me. I'm trying to sort of back out for the DRS, but then I realize I get DRS ahead from Marken, so I go late into the brakes. I allow him right around the outside. He goes for the switchback move in towards the last corner. He's on the inside of our car right now as we go down in towards turn 1, but we have much better wings and much better straight line speed. DRS activated. We got a lap car on the right hand side. We brake late into turn 1, and then all of a sudden TJD with a massive dive bomb up the inside tries to take away that position. We hold him on the right hand side. Then all of a sudden Zafso going for the overtake on the left hand side. We're going 3 wide down in towards turn 4, but then disaster strikes as we get a small screen freeze which holds us for a moment of a second, but it was enough. It was enough to allow Zafso an easy run through turn 4 and claim back that podium position, which in all fairness, he did deserve. He was a much quicker driver, but I just wish I was able to maybe fight him because I don't think he would have risked it on the last lap. I think we could have been aggressive enough to allow ourselves to stay in front, but not too aggressive that anything would have happened between the two of us. But unfortunately there, Zafso does get into P3, and now Marken is going to be coming under pressure from Zafso this late in the race. Zafso has so much grip on these tyres, but there's only a few corners left to go for him to try and overtake Marken as DM guy. Race win today, absolutely ran away with it, although Marken did drop back to help us out, so the gap, you know, isn't actually that big up at the front of the field, but Marken has got Zafso all over the back of him as they go through the final corner now. Can Zafso overtake my teammate? It doesn't look like it. It's going to be a fantastic second place, but 4th place as we come across the line is absolutely amazing as we have a crash across the line there as some driver was spinning after the start finish line. But brilliant result for us to be in P4. That is also now P4 in the championship, and now Ferrari are leading the constructors, which is the perfect start that we wanted. That's going to do for today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this sort of content, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.